Oh, stick a fork in me, for I am done. That was the last beep that you just heard of the first build block of my Ironman or iron distance training, endurance training, whatever you want to call it. It was the last beep of week 3 of that build block, which hurt a lot. It was the last beep of 12 hours of training. And if you're anything like me, then you have to fit your training into life, which is full-time, as in work or family or all of that. So I want to share with you how I do it, how it feels, what it looks like, not hide anything, all the realities. And it starts with last Sunday when I went on a brick ride. I literally heard this quote for the first time about 2 weeks ago, and it has fundamentally changed the way I approach training. Or I say fundamentally, it's certainly enhanced the way I approach training, and it is this: there are no traffic jams on the extra mile. That's the same. Why? Because so few people go there. So although this is my first ever DNS, I did not start the race I was supposed to be doing this morning. That was 82 kilometers on the turbo to match the 82 kilometers I would have done this morning in my race. But I need to get changed because it's brick session day. I'm going to take you out on the run and start talking about my training week for Ironman build block, how I approach all things endurance. We're out on another weekly half marathon, but this is what happens when you don't phone ahead. Oh, it's like prom night all over again. But we look like a right pair of choppers. But it is nice kit. And you join us here on a brick run. Well, it's my brick run. This is just Mary's run. But I was supposed to race today, did not start. I needed to be in an environment where I could control, and in a race, there's too many uncontrollables in terms of weather, pace you go out at. So I've settled on basically doing the race, but at my own pace, under my own control. If you follow the channel, you'll probably know that we train in blocks of 4, where we train for 3 weeks progressively harder and then 1 week recovery. And I'm actually just about to dive into my 3rd week of my build block. And Mary, you're just about to start week 1 of your build block. So we're actually going with me along my week for Ironman training build block. It's not I'm not doing an Ironman, I'm doing an iron distance race. Let's not get bogged down with the specifics. But you're coming with me for a week of seeing how I go about it, how I try and go the extra mile, and how I manage everything else around it. Oh, that is a half marathon in the bank for the both of us, but that was grim. How are you feeling?
Yeah, tired and tight. But good.
And that's the reason for the video, really, is there are a lot of highs in endurance training, especially the end product, as you'd call it, like the race, and that I'm very excited about. But this channel is all about being real and sharing the reality of endurance training as well. And start by a pretty hard day at the office, really. No getting away from that. Let's see how the week goes. Does anybody know what that is? Has anybody seen that before? It's like this big yellow thing in the sky. Welcome to Monday. I actually feel not completely energized for a Monday, but I feel better. I certainly feel better than I have the last few days. And my Mondays in my build blocks consist of swim in the morning. So it's just before 7 o'clock. I'm just getting to the pool, which is at our school now. And I'm going to swim for maybe 30, maybe 45 minutes. We'll see what we can fit in. But this is how my Monday starts now in a build block. I had to cram swimming in, which obviously I haven't been doing it most of the season. But I needed to find that time to do it. And Monday morning is where we've settled on. This yellow thing in the sky is weird. Let me just take a moment to appreciate the surroundings that I have at my school. I know how very, very lucky I am. But look at that. This is the school I work at. I know I'm a very lucky boy. So that's my swim done. I'm now at my work desk, ready to go for the day, and I'm glad I covered about 1,000 meters. And as I always say on the channel, consistency is much more important than some frilly session that blows you out of the water. So I'm just going to keep plugging away and hope that the water temperatures in the lake start to get warmer, because apparently at the moment it is freeze your face off, numbingly, Baltically cold, and that is not conducive to a long swim, which I'm going to need to put in very soon. I need to get up to 3.8 kilometers. Right, let's work. This is how I start my day on a Tuesday morning. Ooh, with an easy dog run. There is something very pretty about where I live, no denying that, and that's what we'll miss when we're in Thailand. I'm absolutely certain of it. Okay, that is run 1 done, work day in the middle, next run later. I have really had to push myself to get this run done. It's now 4:45, I've got a physio appointment in a little bit. I am literally hanging, not literally, because that's not literal, I am hanging on in there. So let's get this done. It was a hard day at work. I haven't felt right, but I felt just right enough that I think I can get this half an hour done without tipping myself over the edge. And I suppose ultimately, that's what Ironman training is, especially when you work full time. It's just living on a knife's edge between pushing yourself too hard and pushing yourself enough that the race day is not a terrifyingly bad experience. But it's really hard to get right, and I struggle all the time. But I think it's more about keeping the habit going. So yes, I'm only doing 30 minutes instead of 45, but I'm doing something, and that's what counts to me at the moment. And you know what the most frustrating thing is? That I've done 10 to 12 hour training weeks during the school holidays, and by the way, yeah, I know I'm very lucky to even have school holidays, I get that, but I've done 10 to 12 hour training weeks and it barely feels like it's touched the sides. And that's the frustration of trying to train when you have a full-time job, which the majority of us do, right? That's how we do it. But it does make you realise that you have to take into account not just training stress, but life stress, the stresses of work, the stresses of a move to Thailand, whatever. That all contributes to your overall feeling and well-being. So you have to take that into account. It's so important. Okay, run 2 done. You got to keep that positivity going. It wasn't comfortable, but it was manageable, and that's what we ask for at the moment. That's what I ask for, is just feeling all right, feeling like I can get it done. Tick things off until better days come where I feel better. But you know, if I can manage an hour running, split into 2 half an hours when I don't feel great, and hope that I don't push myself over the edge, then I've done all right. And we tick into the next day where I have to get up early for a turbo session. This is the only problem with cycling. Turbo training, trying to fit it in. I know that this is the best decision for me. I know that I will not want to be doing this come 6 o'clock tonight when I get home from work, but right now I don't want to be doing it now. But the good thing about this is I got up at 5:30 a.m. to make this happen, and although that is not really for me sustainable for the long term, I can make that happen in this training block. I can make that happen all the way to the Ironman, and that is about going the extra mile. I know when I get home from work today that I can just chill out for the first evening, and I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm so glad I got out of bed because I nearly didn't. Okay, I'm off to work. I've had a shower. I actually feel really good. I'm really glad that I did that. As much as I was kicking and screaming while I was in bed, it makes all the difference. So the rest of the week has been merely an hors d'oeuvre up until this point, because now it starts to get serious. It starts to be where I get tired. I don't really want to do this, but it is Thursday at about 6 o'clock, and I am 6.5 kilometers into a 27 kilometer run. There's no hiding place from the long run, I'm afraid, in the build blocks. So I'm going to take you with me and talk about how my mindset is to make sure I get it done, and what I do during the run, really. If we get into why I use these long runs other than getting miles in my legs, it's really, as I say all along, I say it in a lot of the videos, experimentation. But ultimately, the main reason that I wanted to do this run and that I do these runs is because I absolutely need to show my body who is the boss. Because the last thing I wanted to do was this run. But as you know, I'm a huge believer in mental determination and grit and strength. And I think if you conquer these small dark spots in training, you push yourself through these small hurdles, but you do it time and time again, over and over, you build a type of person that can deal with bigger issues. And I have no doubt that when it comes to Ironman time, 10 plus hours of racing, there's going to be some pretty dark spots for me. There's going to be some moments when I doubt myself. There's going to be some moments when I'm in pain and I'm wondering why the hell I'm doing this. Did I put in enough training? But by continually overcoming little hurdles in my training, you build a pattern of behaviour and a pattern of mindset. And that's why I'm doing this. 27k, 1:59.41, so there was a little bit of drift. It wasn't quite an even split, but it wasn't too bad. Must be about 7:30 now. 2 hours of running, but I do have to get up early in the morning for swimming. And I've just spent the last half an hour in there just crunching away. I'm actually at the moment just trying to get my arms back, so I'm taking the advice of Simon Ward, top triathlon coach, and I'm actually just doing 25 and 50 meter reps. I'm not trying to swim the distance continuously that I'm going to have to swim in the long distance triathlon, because my technique will just fall apart after about 500 meters. And it's really warm in there actually, so you find your times going down quite substantially, or up, slower. You find yourself getting slower. Right, work day. Saturday morning, my eyes can probably tell the story here, and I've had to change some things around in my week to make this training fit, so I wouldn't ordinarily do this today. But my last session of the week is another brick. So I'm going out and I'm doing 2 hours on the bike and a 10k run, and that will take my weekly training up to about 12 hours. And I have my own theory about training blocks and how you should approach them in week 1, week 2, week 3, and then recovery week, and why each different week has a different benefit, I feel, mentally and physically, not psychologically. Right, let's just go cycling because I need to get this over and done with. In an endurance build block, it's when the distance, the volumes start going up. It's when it gets really hard. So I approach it like this. In the first week of my build block, I just take all of the physiological benefit. It's when I'm freshest, I'm just coming off the back of my recovery week, so I know I can really put the button on every session and really squeeze the juice out of everything. I can potentially even do tempo work, high intensity stuff, not lots of it, but a little bit, because I'm fresh and the quality can be there. In fact, in week 1, I don't really experience or even think about what I'd call fatigue from endurance training. But week 2, actually that's the week that I think most closely resembles race day, because your legs are not fresh, your mind is not completely fresh, but it's okay, it can deal with the stresses of training. But it's like training on slightly tired legs. That's a good thing for the body and mind to deal with. Oh, week 3. I can sum week 3 up really easily because I'm at the end of it. And that is, I reckon if I close my eyes right now for too long, I would fall asleep. Week 3 is about fatigue, and it is where the balance shifts, I think, between the physical benefits and the mental benefits. And what I mean by that is, I no longer really feel able to put the quality in every single session that I do. And that's not saying there's not physical benefits, because there's definitely physical benefits, but endurance racing, as I'm sure you know by now, is not just about the physical. It is very much about the mental, and that is where week 3 comes into its own for me. So this week, I've prioritized making training happen no matter what, because it's more for me about building those little mental resiliences and building the type of person I want to be come race day or in general in life. I want to be that person that gets it done, that grinds it out. And there's no hiding from it. I'm bloody tired, but I'm also proud. And just the run. And the thing is, there's no hiding place now. This is it. 7 weeks until race day. And I'm just kind of taking comfort in the knowledge that every grim run like this will make the race day feel that little bit better. Each session that feels hard makes the race day feel less hard. By the way, we do this for fun. Do you realise that? Oh goodness. I can't tell you how happy I am that that is over, but also how happy I am that I made it happen. Oh my goodness. I need to compose my thoughts, and usually, you know what that means. It means there's millionaire shortbread on the way, and a coffee, and it's time for
Tired.
Basically how I feel. I think I've actually summed up everything I wanted to say quite nicely in the video, and usually we sit here and sum everything up, but really the only other thing is, I guess, perspective, and James Lawrence in particular is something big at the moment, isn't it?
Gosh, he's amazing. Do you follow him? The Iron Cowboy. He's doing 100 Ironmen in 100 days consecutively at the moment. Today is day 90. And I'm obsessed with just watching his stories on Instagram and his updates each day.
He's really good at speeches, but also at the same time it puts my 3 hours a day in a little bit of perspective, because he does 14 hours a day every day for the last 90 days.
Yeah.
So get yourself a bit of perspective, but know that you are very, very capable, more capable than you think you are. I think we all believe that.
Yeah.
Oh, and thanks for buying the merch if you bought it. Over 60 people so far already, so we're not far off an order. We need 40 more people to order it, and the first run is...
Oh, I've got a cramp.
Basically, it's half term this week. Booyah, let's rest.
Enjoy the sunshine.
Rest, I meant rest, that's how tired I am. See ya.